Good morning. I'm Janette Millin, your senator, your voice, your advocate in the 29th legislature, with much information to share with you and little time. I begin with Thursday's Committee on Education, Youth, and Culture's action to vote 3 bills out of the committee favorably. Passed on to the Rules Committee for further consideration were bills to reestablish the VI Commission on Youth, to clarify language to be consistent with the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, and to require the Department of Education to end the first semester for public schools in the District of St. Croix prior to the Christmas holiday. I am especially pleased that the VI Commission on Youth, which I proposed, has now been forwarded to the Rules Committee. It has been a long time in coming and much needed for the young people of the Virgin Islands. Many of you will recall that the original commission was dismantled in 1987. Functions of the commission were passed to the Human Services Department. While the department did a wonderful job at it initially, I know you can agree with me that today, no agency in government today is fully funded to carry out crime prevention and youth promotion activities. With the Youth Commission being revitalized, we can say to our young people, you are important to us. You matter. No longer can we afford to continue to say to our children, be seen and not heard. I, for one, hear them loud and clear. Many are desperate, scared, and lashing out at authority. They actually believe that as adults we do not care about them. We cannot allow this perception to continue, as it would lead more of them to a lack of motivation for school and worse. The Commission on Youth has to become reality, and it must be a functional entity. The measure to change the school calendar was a bit controversial, and while it was voted out of committee because members agreed on the concept, before it is voted out of rules, it will be amended to include not just St. Croix, but the territory. If it passes, students in both districts will end their semester before the Christmas holiday. Proponents said that this should improve midterm test scores, as students would be testing before the break. The last item on Thursday's agenda was the grilling of education officials in the wake of the recent dismissals of teachers, paraprofessionals, and support staff. I believe they got the message that the way the dismissals were handled caused a great deal of anger and anxiety among the school unit families and the community at large. They said 23 education employees were fired, all in the name of saving $523,000. Last I heard, the looming deficit is closer to $70 million. Further to that, union officials argued that the separations were not done in accordance with their contract. Last in, first out basis was not observed. There were no prior discussions with the unions as to how the dismissals were to be handled, and employees were not given notice, but asked to leave right away. In the end, we found little justification for how the situation was handled, but there's not much that the Senate can do to remedy the situation that has already occurred. The case of those who have been dismissed is now in the hands of union representatives and a grievance process. But the larger question remains, how many more will be dismissed? Not only is education mum on this, but so are other executive branch officials. Teachers are being dismissed at a time when even President Obama has appealed to the nation's governors to do what they need to do to cut spending, but asked that they keep their hands off of education. When Senate President Ronald Russell asked Education Commissioner Laverne Terry if she fought hard against having to dismiss the teachers, she said yes. And when he asked if she believes she lost the battle, the commissioner said, I think we all lost the battle. Profound words. But we cannot afford to lose the battle. Elected leaders cannot and will not resolve this situation in isolation. Leadership comes in all forms, and our community needs to wake up, dismiss your fears, and let us unite to confront this battle before we all lose. Teachers, nurses, who's next? Police officers, firemen, EMTs? I have asked the finance chair to call a hearing of the governor's financial team so that we can get an update on the current financial deficit and regarding the continued trend of dismissals. By the way, I joined the community in wondering what is the status of the $120 million loan. I didn't vote for it, but the authorization to borrow is now law. While the loan has not been negotiated and the new taxes have not been collected, we still need to know our current cash balances. What is our cash flow position? If the Senate is to be held responsible for ensuring that we seek revenues to keep the government afloat, the administration must stop its defiance in refusing to comply with the law to share up-to-the-minute cash balances with us. And If there is a valid argument regarding the violation of separation of powers doctrine, why hasn't the administration challenged this law in court, but continues to disregard the law? That's it for this week. Thank you for listening. I'm Janette Millin, your senator, your voice, your advocate in the 29th legislature.